Andrew McCart, iFLTV, delighted to be joined by Ben Shalom. Ben, that was enjoyable, fun, chaotic from start to finish. But I want to start at the finish. I want to start with that egg. I'm just going to jump straight in the deep end here. Did you know about it?
I didn't. I've asked Chris Eubank Jr. what he was going to say for weeks because of the last press conference, the famous press conference, where he went at every other promoter. He wouldn't tell me, he wouldn't tell his girlfriend, he wouldn't tell his manager, he wouldn't tell anyone, which meant I knew I was in for something. And I told Eddie that. I told them, I don't know what he's going to do. When I got to the end of the press conference and he not said anything, really, I was thinking, here we go, I'm through. And I thought it was time to go home. So genuinely, I think you can see, I was shocked. At first, I genuinely thought it was worse than it was, because I thought he'd slapped him with something else or slapped him this. Obviously, I've seen now that it's an egg. I'm not condoning it. But no, Chris Eubank Jr. will do what he wants. He's an enigma, he's an entertainer, he's a fighter. And everyone knows that. Chris Eubank Jr. could be controlled. He wouldn't say the things that he says at press conferences. He'll do what he wants, what he feels is right. And all I'll say is, he has had to carry a lot around for the past 2 years. People talk about the Conor Benn story. They don't talk about what happened to Chris Eubank Jr. in that fight camp, and the weight, and how much damage that did to his body, and the fact that he never was paid a penny and wasn't even told about the situation, and then had to bounce into another camp and took real toll on him. And you saw that. I'm not condoning anything he said, done, at all.
Sorry, Ben, Joe done an interview with Eddie there, and Eddie said that the team must be in it, and we said, do you believe that Ben Shalom knew about it? Have you spoke to Ben Shalom? He said, I've spoke to him, he's told me he didn't know about it, but Eddie said he doesn't believe you.
He's bollocks. He knows that everything he said up there, and I like Eddie now, I think that's obvious, but everything he said out there was rubbish. The contract, and the fact that he's had our pants down, the fact that, Chris Eubank Jr. has ended up earning a lot more money than Conor Benn, which he should have done. All this 50-50 nonsense. Then the rehydration and all that. The fact that they're pretending, or Eddie's pretending, I believe, that he thinks Conor Benn's going to win. I know he's got to back his man, but he's been in boxing a long time. And I know that he doesn't think Conor Benn's going to win. And the thing I was trying to say, because I couldn't get a word in, was we were both offered something. And I don't even like talking about contracts, but when they're talking about contracts and they've had my pants down and this and that, I'm just thinking, what is this? Eubank Ben. Eubank's got every championship right. He's won everything. He's got everything. But the telling sign is, both fighters were offered more money if they win, or less money if they lose. Almost like gambling. Or just something in the middle, which is consistent for the rematch. One fighter believes 100% he's going to win, and so he took that option. One fighter didn't and wouldn't and couldn't. Maybe he's promoter, I don't know. I don't want to talk about contracts, but when I'm sat up there listening to how confident they are and how they've done this in the contract and how they've done that, and I'm sat there flabbergasted. But it sells the fight, and people genuinely believe the stuff that's coming out of the mouth.
Well, even at that, the press conference sold the fight up until the egg situation. I mean, it was a good back and forth between Chris and Eddie, then you and Eddie, then Nigel had his piece, and even Ronnie had his piece. It was a fun press conference. I think with the egg situation, it's like that has sold this event. I mean, Thursday might not even go ahead now. There's obviously chaos and drama behind that. I don't know what you know about that, but did you know as well? Did you see that? I want to stay on this one last bit before we go on. Eddie Hearn shoving you amongst that chaos. Did you feel it? I mean,
Eddie thinks that he's a fighter. What's he shoving me for? Unbelievable. But listen, if I'm honest, in Eddie's defence, we were all shocked. We were all shocked, and he thought it was a glass. And that is, I can see that why that reaction.
With an egg with the shell, maybe a little bit of shell got in his eye, scratched his eye. Then again, the fight might get pushed back a couple of more months. There's obviously.
I don't condone it. I'm not happy about it. It was shocking. I think you could see from my face. I was shocked, but I do think Eddie thought it was something that it wasn't. I think, I think he's trying to make it slightly more than it was. But it wasn't something that, everyone's trying to call me. It wasn't something that I condone, and I do agree we've got to keep the fighters apart.
Definitely. Like I say, that press conference there just sold the fight. You might not need Thursday. On you go, mate.
What's up, man? I'm in an interview.
The joys of a professional boxing promoter.
Why? I'm with Andrew. I'm in an interview. Why sorry, mate. I'll come after.
Don't worry, Ben. I'll cut that bit out. The joys of being a professional boxing promoter. Who was that? Who was that?
5 times.
Who was that? In fact, yeah. Let's get.
No.
Yeah, obviously. Eddie Hearn getting his. Yeah. Obviously, that press conference there probably sold that fight.
Yeah.
Do you believe that Thursday is in jeopardy now?
Maybe.
Because the reason why I say that is because Eddie Hearn says that Nigel and Conor both livid and it might be on site the next time he sees Chris Eubank Jr.
It's not. We're not gangsters. I mean, what is this? No one's on site. I mean, how old is Eddie? Sometimes he was squaring up to me like it was in a playground. I like Eddie anyway. He's funny, but it's like you always know how Eddie's going to react and what he's going to say and what he's. Look, is it in doubt? Maybe. Do they have to stay apart? Maybe. Do I condone it? No. Did it need it? No. The event sold. This is absolutely enormous. I don't even think Chris did it to sell an event. I think he's had to deal with something for 2 years and he shouldn't have reacted like that. But we'll move on and just keep a lid on it. But this event is pretty big.
It definitely is going to be massive. I mean, Nigel Benn was up there, which was good to see, especially me as a young kid growing up watching their dad's fight with my dad on the couch. I can remember that on ITV. You're probably a bit too young, Ben. I'm a little bit older than you. And the fact that Senior wasn't there. But do you believe and do you hope that Senior will be there come fight night?
I believe he'll be there. But this isn't about the dads anymore. The first fight was born rivals because it was. This, after the past 2.5 years and the back and forth and what's happened and the controversy, is selling because it's Chris and Conor. Of course, it feels like Eubank Benfrey. It feels like you've got the antagonist. It feels like you've got the guy that can talk, and it feels like you've got the Conor Benn that's ready to go, just like Nigel was, just like Chris was. So it does feel like that, but I think Chris will be there. I don't think it's to do with the fathers anymore. It's definitely not to do with the promoters. I think Chris made that clear.
One final one on this. Conor Benn is just in the next room from you, in room 3, you're in room 4. I'm on site. Go on yourself. No, I'm just saying, did you see Conor in the hallway? Have you seen him after this?
Yeah,
and have you exchanged words?
He's angry, yeah.
What's
he's angry.
Does he say anything to you?
Yeah, he's angry because obviously I am the promoter and he is angry. But everyone's going to be angry after that. And I think things will calm down. Egos have been bruised. Hopefully we move on. But yeah, that's it.
I'll end it on this one final word. Like I said, that press conference there on has sold this event. There was fans in there as well. There was cheering Eubank, some cheering Ben. Eubank mentioned in there about them both being villains, and this fight has got everything for the British public. Is this the biggest British fight that this year's going to see?
I think it's the biggest British fight. 2 Brits, possibly in the past 2 decades. I think it's going to be on par with Froch Groves. I think it's capturing every age group, every demographic, everything. It's enormous. Doesn't need things like what Chris did. That's he'll have to deal with that.
Do you think there will be repercussions with the board or whatever it may be in terms of fines? We've seen that sometimes. I think Derek Chisora got fined for chucking that table, didn't he? So do you believe that there might be a fine involved here?
Possibly, but it wasn't. I have to say, it wasn't violent. He's probably mugged him off a bit and probably shouldn't have done it, but it wasn't violent. It wasn't like what we've seen with Hay and Chisora. It wasn't that. And it probably looked a bit worse than it was. But hopefully that will be the end of it, and we've got an unbelievable event. I just couldn't believe the size of it when I walked in today. Obviously, I've done a lot of shows, and I am young. I mean, Eddie goes on about it like unbelievable. He started when he started at my age, and his dad was a promoter. I've done about 70 shows, and I'm 31 or 30. So he started at this age, and he goes on about this and that, but he knows and he knows what I've had to do. And
Do you think you'll be better than Eddie Hearn in 10 years' time?
I don't think Eddie is an unbelievable showman and his best presenter. You're not going to get a better talker. And I don't want it to make it about Eddie, but he goes on and on. I've got myself here from nothing. So when I'm involved in these events, I think back to warehouses, I think back to 8-man tournaments, I think back to selling international rights for people, doing matchmaking for people, doing press conferences when I was 22, 23, and I couldn't do anything, and I couldn't afford anything at that point. So this is a journey that not many people can relate to. Eddie certainly can't, and in a respectful way, because I think he's unbelievable at what he does. But I think he has respect for that. So when I'm involved with these events, when I was involved with Carnbrook, for me, this is I wouldn't say a dream come true, but I would say this justifies everything, not just me, my whole team I've worked for from the beginning. And as a fan, I fell in love with British boxing because of massive British shows, because I loved the entertainment, I loved the drama. I might not get involved myself, but I love it. Like the old Chisora days.
You're getting involved more.
A little bit, but you have to when they're talking such nonsense. But the old Chisora days, the heydays, the tables, unbelievable, and that's what I love. So and we've had some unbelievable boxing recently, and I love that as well. But there's nothing quite like two Brits in a box office event that really don't like each other, that have massive characters that can talk back and forth. I was up there like a fan. Mm-hmm. I used to watch those press conferences on my laptop. Love it.
No, I love it too. And you know what? It's still 2 months until the fight, so let the games continue. I think that is just maybe the start of something. We might see more, whether it be on social media, so I'm excited. I cannot wait for this. Young Joe's going to be there, the lucky young sod. But listen, Ben, as always, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you.